Hi, it's Willie Crawford. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this presentation today, which I've tentatively titled Understanding Business Barter and Why You're Much Richer Than You Think. And I've called it also that you can get almost anything you need without cash. That is, anything you need for your business and or personal life, you could probably find via barter. And so we're going to cover that in depth today. There's no need to take notes. I'll give you free access to the recording that I'm making right now, and I'll also give you my notes in a PDF format. Anything that my disclaimer, anything that I cover is for informational purposes only. You should definitely consult with your tax advisor and or legal advisor or other professional before taking action. You assume all responsibility for actions that you take. If you have questions after watching the presentation, please email me. My email address is willie.crawford@gmail.com. Please use the subject line barter questions. That's so it'll stand out in my inbox. So email me willie.crawford@gmail.com. Please use the subject line barter questions. I'll be following up with on this discussion actually in my private Facebook group, which is called Total Freedom. So if you're a member of that, you can ask me questions there too. And this presentation will also be posted to my YouTube channel, where any URLs that I share, my notes basically will be posted beneath the video. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/The Modern Midas. That's The Modern Midas. Okay. And I'll post it there and share other good stuff on that channel too. So feel free to subscribe to the channel while you're there. Who am I? It's a good question. I don't know why I show this border. Well, let me escape and go back to who am I? And then go back to slideshow. Who am I? Okay, I'm a retired soldier, a farm kid that went after the military, after college, went into the military for 20 years. And I started an internet-based business in 1996, which was actually 6 years before I retired from the military. I wanted a way to earn a part-time income, and I was also thinking about getting out before 20 years. And so I looked around, discovered the early internet, early commercial internet. And since then, I've been an affiliate marketer, sold lots, tens of thousands of affiliate products. I'm a published author. And my first book was a cookbook I published back in 2000, and that got me noticed actually in the world of internet marketing and got me invited to speak at seminars and things like that. I'm a product creator. I've created, I don't know, probably 250 different products. I'm a seminar host. I've hosted 6 live in-person seminars, a number of virtual seminars, and I've spoken at probably over 100 seminars. I'm a coach and a mentor. I don't do a lot of one-on-one coaching anymore, but that is available. I'm an SEO expert, or I have been. Back in 2003, I offered my services as a SEO expert and had clients such as the late Bob Proctor and a lot of other people who hired me. So I became quite proficient at it, but I also discovered it was a lot of work, so I don't do that much anymore. I'm a joint venture broker, which means that I help people to put together mainly product launches, but I can put together almost any venture. Excuse me. I have a huge database, a huge following, and so I can connect. I'm a connector too. I'm a podcast host. I hosted a audio-only podcast for probably 10 years on the Blog Talk Radio channel. Now I host my podcast primarily on YouTube and broadcast a number of other places there. So when you go over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel, you'll be notified when I post new podcasts. And I'm just now really cranking that up. I'm a professionally trained platform speaker. I was trained by John Childers, went through his $30,000 speaker training back in 2002. I'm a social media influencer. I've been on social media for some platforms for as long as 15 years. I'm the Alignable Alliance Ambassador on the platform alignable.com, which is a social media platform designed for local businesses to uh, basically do a lot of referrals to other local businesses. I'm a martial artist. I've got about 40 years in karate. I'm a husband, father, grandfather of 4, and I'm an old geezer. I guess you even call me semi-retired. I'm old enough to collect the government pension plus the military pension plus my earnings online that I've worked on for 26 years. So I'm okay for that, all those right now. And I discovered Barter circa 2015 when I came across a guy named Vegas Vents. I didn't put any pictures in this presentation because I didn't want to bog it down too much. And I can see now that I don't even have it framed properly. That's okay. The slides are more to guide me than they are for your use. I will make them available to you, make a PDF available to you, and I post a lot of notes, so don't worry about that too much. But Vince taught me all about the world of barter. My purpose and hope for this webinar is one, to end your feeling of being broke, especially as we're going into a recession and money's going to feel tight. The feds and banks are going to be tightening down the money supply, and people are going to be looking for jobs in some places, some sectors, and it's going to feel, sort of helpless for a lot of people. So I want to end that feeling by showing you that there is a way other than working a regular job, basically. I want to also create potential trading partners for me. You see, if I introduce you to the world of barter, and especially to the barter organization I'm in, then when you offer your goods and services for barter, I don't need to spend my cash dollars, my fiat currency, to buy goods and services from you. I can just spend my barter dollars, and you can also spend your barter dollars buying my goods and services. So I want to create potential trading partners. And I want to give you just some fairly rare, empowering knowledge. You see, the world of barter was very secretive for a long time. What is barter, though? It's the exchange of goods and services for goods and services of equal value. Typically, in a barter exchange, you trade dollar for dollar. It's also a world of trust that's also, as I mentioned, somewhat secretive. People in the barter exchanges that I'm familiar with, they have a tremendous amount of trust for each other. We have certain rules and protocols, and you don't want to get a bad reputation. If you do, you're probably booted out of the organization. But also, the only way to get into a lot of these organizations is by an invitation from a member. That's because you're sort of vouched for when someone invites you in. In barter organizations, people always pay full retail price. So I've never been asked for a discount. And we also never price gouge. That is, you charge your full retail price, but you don't charge more than your full retail price. And so to get around some of that, not to get around it, some products are only offered in the barter world. And that way I can charge what I think the product is worth. Because if I offered it online in the internet marketing space, people have a tendency to ask for discounts and just nickel and dime you to death. So I actually prefer the barter world. I think of the barter world as an island where everything is imported. That's because not every product in the world is available in the world of barter. So it's almost like certain products being offered by members are imported onto this isolated island, this world of barter. And being like an island also makes your goods and services more likely to be desired, because if you offer something fairly unique, or not even necessarily that unique, but at competitive prices or whatever, for some reason people feel more comfortable dealing with you over others, then it makes it very easy to sell goods and services. I've never had a problem selling things in the world of barter. So you need to think of barter, though, the same as cash. That is, I noticed a long time ago, people who had PayPal accounts, you'd offer them something for sale, and they'd say, well, I don't have any money, but I have PayPal. They thought of it as a different currency. And people in the world of barter can tend to think of it the same as they do PayPal, but it is the same as cash. In fact, the IRS treats it the same as cash. Thinks of it the same as cash, have laws and have set up special committees and all kinds of things that to deal with the world of barter. So it's the same as cash, you know. So don't take your barter dollars for granted. Barter trade always flourishes in a down economy. That's one of the things that prompted me to put together this presentation, because we're in a recession, and that's going to make barter thrive. Barter was born out of the Great Depression, and what I mean by that is the world basically went into a depression back in 1929 through 31-ish, and lots of people, banks went bust. Lots of people didn't have cash, and so they bartered. A lot of people who had businesses couldn't pay cash for supplies, so their suppliers often would accept barter in exchange for giving them supplies. For example, a restaurant may get supplies from someone who says, okay, I'll give you $1,000 worth of supplies for your restaurant, but in exchange, I want $1,000 worth of restaurant meals. And it continues to work that way. And so a lot of things were born out of the Great Depression that are still done in the world of barter. And that was reinforced during the recession following World War II, when again, there was a downturn in the economy, and money was fairly tight at one time, and jobs were fairly scarce. And you had a lot of soldiers returning from the war. A lot of war industry-related businesses were going out of business, so a lot of jobs being lost. And so that reinforced it. And barter is now worldwide. It's in practically every country or every region, but I don't know the specifics on all the different barter organizations in each country. So I focus primarily on the organization that I'm in, and that's what I'll be sharing with you today. In fact, I'll give you a look behind the curtain. I don't know why I threw this quote by Albert Einstein in, but he said, if I had to live my life over again, I would elect to be a trader of goods rather than a student of science. He says, I think barter is a noble thing. So I want to argue with Einstein there. Who uses barter? Individuals use barter, that is mom and pop business owners, home cottage type businesses, any type of business, for-profit and non-profit businesses. We have lots of charities, some churches and things like that in the organization I'm a member of, and they can sell goods and services. If they're for-profit, non-profit, they can barter in different ways. A lot of them just ask for donations, and especially during certain times of the year when our members are looking for tax deductions. And so they're very generous. We are very generous in giving to barter organizations. I brought 4 or 5 charities into ITEX because I knew that our members were anxious to get tax deductions. They're going to pay taxes anyway on their bartered dollars. And so why not let them choose how they spend their tax dollars? You know, they can get that tax deduction by giving it to an organization. Governments also do engage in barter. In fact, most governments have foreign exchange offices where they'll often buy goods and services, not paying cash, but paying barter. And I can think of numerous examples, but I won't go into most of them, but especially in they sell arms, they sell all kinds of goods and services, grain and food, and all kinds of goods and services are exchanged between governments. Good examples of businesses using barter. You may or may not know that Carnival Cruise Line was started using barter. The founders of Carnival had a beat up, rusted out ship, and they fixed it up, and they needed to get the word out about the cruise line. So they, through a person that I'm familiar with, offered cruise cabins in exchange for publicity. And this person went out to numerous radio stations in regional markets and got millions and millions of dollars worth of radio advertising. Some days that was like every 30 minutes or whatever, there was an advertisement on a local radio station advertising Carnival Cruise Line, and that built Carnival Cruise Line into a billion-dollar business and made its owners very rich. They did that all started with one ship and barter, exchanging advertising for cruise cabins. The home shopping network started with barter. The person who started the home shopping network had a bunch of irons, among other things, and decided to offer those over a radio station. And people bid on the irons, and they evolved into a TV station, a TV channel that sells goods and services. Chrysler Corporation, there was a time when they had, there was 1 year when they had, at least 1 year, when they had a huge stock of, I forget the model, but it wasn't selling very well. It was just sitting in the parking lot near the factory, and the owner, tugged out the management of Chrysler, tugged at their hair and everything, and said, "What do we do?" And they went through another person I'm familiar with, who said, "I can exchange your cars for advertising." And so we went to numerous major media outlets and offered them a car in exchange for X number of dollars of advertising. And that allowed them to, I think he sold like 900 cars. He bartered for 900 cars with radio stations. And all of a sudden, Chrysler had cash they could use to advertise, or they had advertising dollars in the form of barter dollars they could use to advertise their models that were selling better, and that allowed them to recover from having a bunch of cars sitting on a parking lot, depreciating and not being sold because they were not that popular. And the radio stations got cars that they could sell or at a discount sometimes, or give away to their employees, or just keep for employee use, or run contests for. In fact, many media channels today, radio stations, television stations, newspapers and magazines, they will run contests sometimes where they'll offer prizes, everything from vacations up to cars and stereo systems. I won a stereo system years ago when I was in college, for example. And they have what they call prize closets. And these prize closets are goods that they generally get on barter, that they offer airtime in exchange for gifts. So what can you offer on barter? I put anything that's legal to sell. Just brainstorm what goods or services you own. And I'll give you a peek inside my barter club to give you an idea of what people are offering on barter shortly. Let's see. But when you brainstorm, I should have put what goods or services you own. Brainstorm what you're good at doing too. For example, I grew up on a farm, and I learned while in grade school horticulture, growing plants. I learned by animal husbandry. I could raise animals. I learned to weld, to do carpentry, and a lot of other things like that. I ran a greenhouse, and so today I actually barter plants. For example, that's one of the things I grow because I have a green thumb. I've grown plants for nearly 60 years. Talent arbitrage is another principle I want to touch on. That is, if you don't have something of your own to offer, you can offer others products or services. For example, you may know of a source that can do website banners. You may know of something like Fiverr.com, where people go and offer their services dirt cheap. And a lot of business owners don't know about these services or don't want to deal with them. So you go and find someone who'll do banners for you, or you find a painter who will do oil paintings for you. You lock down with them an agreement to do these at a certain price, and then you mark that price up and offer it for sale on barter. And the thing is, something like an oil painting, or something like a painting, they don't have a value that's fixed in people's minds. So those are often the best types of products to offer on barter. Even things like collectibles, people don't have a fixed value in mind, whereas a book, people have in mind a fixed value for that, or even a lot of things. So you want to offer things that where you can have some wiggle room in the price because people are familiar with it, but also you can go and find other people to do those products and services for you, and you just lock it down. You can then collect the money from the customer on barter, collect the barter dollars, and then turn around and hire that service out to someone. Finding a barter club and why? Well, first of all, finding others to trade with can be a challenge. You may have a bunch of chickens, and you may need some dentistry or haircuts or restaurant meals or work done on your car, and the person that you want to buy the service from may not want what you have, basically. One answer to that would be triangulation. That is, you find someone who has product A that you want, and you pay them in barter services, but they don't want what you have, so you connect them with someone else, and that someone else maybe needs what you have. So that's like a three-way exchange of goods and services. That'll work, but a formal barter organization bridges the gap because like the one I'm in has 25,000 members scattered across the US and Canada. And so practically any good or service that I need, I could probably find a member of the exchange. And then the way it works is I offer my goods and services for barter credits or barter dollars, and they're deposited on the exchange, much like you deposit in a bank. And then when someone buys my goods and services, it's deposited within the exchange. And then when I buy something, I pay within the exchange. We're even issued like checks, and we have apps and things like that where we can just authorize payments to other people. And the exchange makes its money by charging a nominal fee on each transaction. Plus, they charge a small monthly fee. I think the monthly fee is like $25 right now, and it's 6% per exchange. I think that's what it is, but I can verify that for you. I don't even pay much attention anymore because I do so much trade and I have so many barter dollars coming in that it doesn't matter a lot to me anymore. To find an organization other than the one I'm going to tell you about, which is ITEX, you could go to the International Reciprocal Trade Association and look there, but you can also just Google your state or your region and barter, and you'll probably find something. But I'm a member of ITEX, and ITEX has franchises. I'll show you what we have in a while, but these franchises are located in different areas, and like the one I'm a member of or joined through is the largest franchise in all of ITEX and has been for over a decade. But some of these franchises are members of IRTA too. Again, more on ITEX shortly. Here are some of the things I sell on barter. I sell plants. I actually turned $83 worth of papaya seeds, which was 1,000 papaya seeds, into $9,000. And the way I did that was I sold 600 plants at an average of $15, and I still have probably 300 seeds left over that are still very viable. So I'll plant those again when the weather warms up. But I basically $83 worth of seeds with 1,000 seeds. So I don't know what the cost on that was, but it was minimal. Turning $83 into $9,000. Now I sold these plants on both my barter club, which is ITEX, but I also sold them in the Facebook marketplace and on eBay. And I purchased these seeds off of eBay actually. And so I deal in numerous marketplaces, and I'll probably do a video and put it on my YouTube channel, teaching you some things about eBay too, because I do a lot of that. I also do copywriting, and I charge 10 to 20 grand to do a long form sales letter. And my pricing is based on how complex the project is, how long I think it'll take me to do. Now I'm accepting barter dollars, mind you, and how complicated it is. And so, but I've been writing copy since I was 14 when I published a mail order newsletter, And in that newsletter, I ran ads, and so I had to learn to write sales copy. And I'm in my 60s now, so that gives you an idea of how long I've been writing copy. And I do get customers paying me for sales letters. I also create lead generation websites. I build the site and rank it and then rent it. And I charge $1,000 a month in my Barter club. Or if they want to pay for a year in advance, it's 10 grand. So these items generate fairly decent profits for me. I sell courses in PDF and or video format. A lot of the courses that you internet marketers will be familiar with that you can buy, you can create yourself, or you can buy reprint or resale rights. I offer a lot of those to iTex members. I sell access to membership sites. I have one site that's $19.97, a one-time fee, and that's offered to iTex members. And I sell lots and lots and lots of old books, CDs, DVDs, magazines. I've sold old military clothing. And in fact, I now, whenever I come across someone that's retired military, I ask if they have clothing that they no longer use. And I'll pay them for it and then turn around and sell it either on iTex or eBay, especially things like field jackets and heavy duty stuff that they can use for hunting and winter wear and things like that. Those sell very well on iTex and eBay. Things I've purchased on Barter, most of the graphics and logos that I've purchased in the last 2 years were done by iTex members. I have some websites hosted on iTex members hosting services, and I have some sites that were designed by iTex members. I've had editing and proofreading done that way too. Voiceovers, where I take a video and I want someone else to do it because my voice gets tired at times, or I just want a voice with a certain accent or a certain gender, then I'll go to iTex members and get those done for like jingles or introductions to videos or introductions to podcasts, things like that. Paralegal services, things like legal agreements, things like setting up corporations and all those types of things. There's lots of paralegals that are members of iTex. We have a huge number of restaurants in iTex. And so, there's probably a restaurant near you that will take iTex Barter dollars for the meal. And some will be for just a meal, but not for drinks or tips. I'll cover that in a little while. Newspaper advertising, I've purchased that, running mostly small classified ads, but there are newspapers that offer up to a full-page ad. Custom tailored clothes. My clothier is a member of iTex, and he does men's clothing. And so he just needs my size and what I want. And I pay iTex for the clothing and cash for the shipping. Transcription services. I have books I've written that have been translated into Spanish and other languages, but mainly Spanish. I had an iTex member do several of those. I have purchased, I went through a training course on how to play poker because just for the fun of it. And so that was iTex. Transcription. I once, maybe twice, decided I was going to transcribe something that I'd recorded in audio. And that was so grueling. Like a 30-minute audio took me about 4 hours. And so I decided never to do that again. There are members who are professional transcriptionists who offer that on iTex or on Barter. And they basically, most of them are very fast typists, and they use a little foot control device that controls the speed of the audio, so they can type as they're listening to the audio, and they're fairly accurate at it. So I no longer do transcription services myself. Furniture, appliances, electronics, toys. Some of the furniture in my house and some of my yard furniture, lawn furniture, was purchased from an iTex member, a local member. Appliances, some of the appliances, electronics, a large screen television, for example, telephones, all kinds of stuff was purchased on iTex. One Christmas, I went to a local iTex member he was a liquidator. So he had this store with all kinds of goods and services in it. And I basically just said to my wife, why don't we do some of our Christmas shopping here? She said, how much you want to spend? I said, I don't care. And so we bought a lot of toys, especially, that we gave away as gifts. And the thing is, it cost me about 10 cents on the dollar on average to earn the iTex dollars, because a lot of the things I do are just using my services, and a lot of it's using software even. So it doesn't cost me a lot to generate those dollars. And as long as I do my accounting in the right way, again, it costs me about 10 cents on the dollar. I'm now saving up for both a house and or raw land. I'm thinking of buying a new house, but there's a lot of people offering land. There's fewer people offering homes, but then there's lots of contractors and builders who will take a barter on trade, because they can take those barter dollars and use it to buy advertising mainly, and use that to sell their houses. I'm also looking for a boat, medium-sized boat, and a small private airplane. I took my first flying lesson back in 1983 and fell in love with flying when my instructor took me up to 5,000 feet, told me to look for a place to land the little Cessna we were in. And I tried the field, and he shut the engine off and showed me how safe that plane was to fly. And then, but I also was flying a military airplane, but in the capacity of a navigator. So flying is something I enjoy doing. And I'm looking at building a second home in the Philippines. And when I do, I may want a private plane there just to get around the country easier. I don't know. Or may just leave it in the States and lease it out to a flying club or something like that. Let me cover some barter terminology with you. I'm going to cover script, and that's not misspelled. In the barter world, we spell it S-C-R-I-P, dating, float, and breakage. Script is basically, it's a gift certificate. It's currency that you issue. You can create your own money, basically. If you needed it's like an interest-free loan that you may not even need to repay, or may not repay all of it. And the way that works is, let's say you own a restaurant and you needed $10,000. You could issue $10,000 in gift certificates. You own a hair salon or whatever. You could issue a beauty salon. You could issue $10,000 in gift certificates, and those certificates out there in cyberspace. But say you own a restaurant and you issue $10,000 in gift certificates, and they're in $20 denominations, and your terms, specify that you don't give cash back, and that it doesn't cover drinks and tips. So you just got $20,000, and you don't have to pay for that or deliver the meals until they bring it in to redeem it. So it's a way for customers to pay for goods and services in advance, and you get to specify the terms. Speaking of the terms, what we call that dating. The terms, that's the terms that you specify on the script. When is the script valid for? You could issue a gift certificate and say it's good for a year, or you can make it good for 5 years or no expiration date. And generally, the longer, the better, because people will take gift certificates, stick them in the back of a drawer, and forget about them, or they'll give them to someone who moves away and never use it, or they use half of it but don't use the other half of it. So that's dating, though, is the terms that you put on the gift certificate, how it can be used. Float is when people buy these gift certificates or a script, you have use of that money until they redeem the merchandise, and then your only expense is whatever it costs you to deliver, the product. For example, a restaurant's overhead is, a restaurant's cost of meals is generally fairly low, and the cost of help is also fairly low. So, they get this loan that they can use until this gift certificates are redeemed. And think traveler's checks, like American Express traveler's checks, they may sell somebody $1,000 worth of traveler's check for a trip they're taking, and they may not even use all the traveler's checks. But while the traveler's checks out there in their wallets, American Express is making hundreds of millions of dollars from the float, from taking that money, that cash, and investing it in typically short-term instruments. Breakage, I mentioned earlier, that's the portion of script that's not used or never redeemed. Again, you sell $10,000 worth of restaurant gift certificates, and somebody comes in with a $20 gift certificate and they buy $18 worth of food. Well, if you specify you're not giving back cash, then you've just made $2 of free money. Basically, that's breakage, and it simply adds to your bottom line. If you specify that the gift certificate expires in a year and they don't use it at all, well, you just got the money without having to deliver any goods. So it's an interesting thing, and typically as high as 70% of some types of gift certificates are never redeemed. So it's an interesting concept, and it's well worth thinking about issuing certificates for your goods or services if they're suitable. And that can be for anything. Like I do copywriting. I thought about running a sale and just offering a discount on my copywriting and saying you could use it within a year. And if I sell 20 at $10,000, that's $200,000 I've collected in barter credits that I can use to spend on things that I need to run my business, and I don't have to deliver the service until they order. And I'm very good at copywriting. I've been doing it for 50 years, and I also use software to help speed up the process. The biggest players in the barter world that you'll have access to are hotels and media. I say you because you don't have access to certain things that Fortune 500 companies have access to, or governments have access to. But all hotels have empty rooms, and media, like radio stations, have lots of open airspace. The thing is that these are perishables. A hotel cannot sell today's room tomorrow. Once it passes a certain time of the day, that room it didn't sell. It was empty, and it went to waste. Same with media. The radio station can sell a 15 or 30-second commercial for whatever and take barter dollars, or they can let the DJs jibber jabber away, and that money is gone. So they are very willing to exchange the hotel rooms or the media or use of a timeshare and things like that for barter dollars. All of those are readily available all over the United States and in many parts of Canada, that and through my barter club, and major media, everything from media as big as like the Wall Street Journal and AARP, things like that. AARP is the largest publication in America because there's so many seniors, and they charge big money for advertising, but from time to time they make available through barter clubs access to their media. So what can you offer on barter to generate some cash flow? You just need to think, what talents do you have? Do you cook? Can you offer, I don't know, like I mentioned, I have a green thumb, so I can offer plants. Or what assets you have that you're not using or you're underutilizing? Do you have spare warehouse space? Do you have a delivery truck you're not using, put into full utilization? Are you comfortable exchanging the use of that truck for barter? Do you have a print shop that isn't running at full capacity? You can offer. I'm getting ready to have a book printed on barter, because that print shop, when they're running a job, that's fine, but when they're not running, then the employees are just sitting around doing nothing, and the printing presses are idle, but they've already paid for the overhead. So why not offer that on barter to a barter member? And so they do, and all kinds of print shops, all kinds of printing. Now, in barter, you get paid in barter dollars and barter credits that are credited to the exchange. And so we have this concept called cash converting, which is where you sell your uh, goods. You sell your goods and services for barter dollars, and you take those barter dollars and buy something else that you then sell in the non-barter world for cash. That's called cash converting. So you may have $50,000 in barter dollars, and you may go out and buy a couple cars. I don't know, 4 or 5 used cars. They're available that cheap, and you turn around and sell them in the real world. And my mentor Vince used to teach: buy high, sell low, and still make a profit. You buy something for a piece of jewelry for $15,000 and you sell it for 10, and you still make a profit because you bought with barter dollars that, again, I pay 10 cents on the dollar for my typical barter dollar. So, I could buy $50,000 worth of stuff and sell it for 30, and I've bought and lost $20,000 in barter dollars, but that $30,000 may have only cost me 10 to earn. So I still make a credit, and as long as I do my accounting right, then I report to the IRS what I sold the good for, and I report what I paid it for. And it's a way you can actually you're reducing your tax burden. But again, this is not tax advice. You have to do proper bookkeeping, and by the way, you can get bookkeeping services on Barter. Let me give you a quick tour of ITEX, which is the largest barter organization in North America. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Okay, here we are inside ITEX, and I've logged into the site, and these are things that members see. There's home, marketplace ads, member directory. There's my account, locations, invite, our story, and log off. And this is the marketplace, and what this is showing is recent marketplace ads. That is, members, as recently as like yesterday, listed items that they want to sell. Everything from tractor brake pads at they got 1,050 brake pads they're selling for $5 a pair. Toilet spray and all kinds of things. I mean, any good and service you can think of. A lot of people sell all kinds of goods and services. This person's selling a 30-minute professional headshot portrait session for $300. If you're in business on the internet or anywhere, you need a good quality professional portrait shot. So that's what this person is offering. Going back up, let me look at the categories real quick for you. I just want to go here. Okay, you've got the recent marketplace ad. This is what is here, and again, it'll show things listed in the marketplace probably the past 10 days, and your ads are typically listed for free for 30 days, and then you renew them if you want to. And that's what's in the recent marketplace. And when you renew them, they'll show up again at the top of the listings. Accommodations and travel. I mentioned hotels, timeshares. There's also limousine services. I can be going to, say, New York City, find an ITEX member there, and book a hotel room, and find an ITEX member who runs a limo service and get them to pick me up at the airport. And I've done that before. Advertising, I've already mentioned newspaper and magazine advertising, but you can also get billboards, you can get cable television, anything you can imagine. Advertising, that these little flyers that are in or lit up boards that are in restaurants displayed on the tables, things like that, or advertising in malls. Anything you can think about in the world of advertising, it's probably available here. Animal and agriculture. I recently saw dogs offered for sale through a breeder. All kinds of agricultural products. When I need nursery supplies, I have gift certificates that I buy and then go to the local nursery and use those to buy everything from flower pots to fertilizer and potting soil to plants. And then I turn around and sell those plants or grow other plants using these supplies. So I pay with barter dollars for a lot of my supplies. Arts and antiques, it's people selling all kinds of arts and antiques, you know, automotive, everything from automotive services, you know, repairs, paint shops, glass repairs, dent removal to automobiles themselves. There are people who sell. We have ITEX members who are car dealers who from time to time will offer brand new cars on ITEX, but I see a lot more used cars. Any kind of business product you can imagine, just about. I mentioned charities. Clicking this link would bring up all the charities that are members. Clothing, people sell new clothing and used clothing. People go to yard sales, or they find goods that are available at liquidation, and they buy. Some of them buy a truckload of the stuff and then turn around and sell it either on barter, like ITEX, or they sell it on eBay. Computer services, everything from computer repairs, or remote computer troubleshooting to all kinds of computers, actually. Cosmetics and makeup, it's lots of that sold there, and lots of beauty parlors and makeup shops. Education, there are actually universities. I haven't looked for any on ITEX, but I understand there are universities that will accept barter for the tuition. Entertainment, everything from magicians and bands to you name it. You know, someone to entertain the kids at a birthday party or a formal function. Food and beverages, I've mentioned that. You know, all kinds of restaurants and catering services. Furniture and fittings, any kind of furniture you can imagine, from outdoor furniture and fireplaces, you name it. I've seen it advertised there. Health and medical, I've seen a lot of chiropractic services, nail treatments, hair regrowth, all kinds of things like that offered there. And there are doctors and dentists that are members of ITEX. Now, the way they generally work is they look and they say, well, in the average week, I've got 2 hours that I'm not doing anything. And so let me offer those 2 hours on ITEX. They typically will go to a trade director, which is a person that works for the barter exchange. And they'll say, I want you to manage my account. I want you to offer up to 2 hours a week or whatever of my services, because they don't want to be contacted via the ITEX member directly. So if I call a local dentist, they may say, we don't do that. But if I go to the trade director will say, oh yeah, I can get you into this dentist or that dentist. That's the way some of these professionals work. They have managed accounts. See, we have this huge database of 25,000 members, but not all the members have listings in the database. And, you know, so some, they just go through the trade director and let the trade director do the work for them. Home and garden, I've mentioned lawn furniture and all kinds of fixtures and landscaping services and yard care. All those are available there. Industrial and manufacturing, all kinds of things there. I haven't really looked at that category that much. Jewelry, any kind of jewelry you can imagine. Jewelry typically has a very high markup. So, you know, lots of jewelers and people who buy used or vintage jewelry have listings here. I mentioned legal services. It's mostly paralegal, although I've seen people offer like services such as family law cases or bankruptcy cases or IRS debt resolution, things like that. I've seen those offered via ITEX. Marine and aviation, again, I've seen boats and I've seen airplanes. Don't see a lot of the airplanes, but I'm looking. And marina services, and all kinds of maintenance services there. Personal care services, you know, everything from estheticians and people that work on your face just to make you look better or whatever. I mentioned printing already, real estate and construction, anything that falls in that category, you could probably find it there. With real estate, you have a lot of real estate developers who will buy a huge tract of land and then subdivide it into smaller tracts and offer those smaller tracts for sale. And so it's not unusual to see a member list 25 to 30 tracts near some popular area or some tourist attraction or some resort or some place where people just like to go to retire, and you'll see them offering lots, either empty lots or they'll offer lots plus construction. I see that a lot on iTex. Repairs, any kind of repair and maintenance you can think of is probably offered there. You know, most repair shops have downtime, and so why not offer it to other members? Retail and shopping, lots of stores, lots of retail stores have listings in iTex, you know, and I've seen, last one I looked at was one that offered phones, cell phones, and all the fixtures that go with them, you know, safety and security. I see a lot of safety gear and security cameras and things like that. Sports and recreation, I've seen members offer hunting trips or fishing trips, or use it at a shooting club, things like that. I've seen a lot of that offered, or kayaking or whatever, whitewater rafting, telecommunications. Seen a lot of all kinds of phone systems that organizations use. Transportation, I've mentioned taxis and even air taxis. You know, there's certain places where you can catch a helicopter across town or whatever. Or I've seen some that offer sightseeing tours in popular areas. So those are the things that are offered via the marketplace. These are my personal iTex ads, and I have 57 active. And you can see that some of them sell things as little as like $10, but this is where I charge $19.97, and I say I'm offering 10 members access to it, but that I may relist it. Here I'm offering some membership sites, a package of 10 membership sites, 20 membership sites at $1,000, and these sites they're self-replicating websites where the buyer can either sell or give away and sell upsells to any of those sites, and they keep all the money. But I sell them the front end and the setup. I mentioned lead generation sites. I say right here, custom lead generation sites. I say I'm offering $10 or $1,000 per month, and I do sell those, and I periodically update the listings. Like this list, this listing expires on January 20th. And so I will probably go in and relist it. There's no reason for me not to. And I offer all kinds of, like, this is just a video course for $97 a copy. You know, what is that? I'm selling electrons. You know, they pay me, I give them the download link for the video. Here's some old recordings from a video from a seminar series that Carl Galletti, who's now retired, but he did years ago. And so I offered this collection of CDs, DVDs for $197 because I've already gone through all of them and more or less memorized them and know that stuff because it's stuff that I've done over the years. So those are my listings. You know, see, I mentioned that we have 25,000 members scattered across the US and Canada. And they have franchises. So it's like 3 franchises in the state of Alabama. California has 12 franchises. You know, some states don't have only 1. British Columbia, Canada has 1. Ontario has 2. Quebec has 1. But the reality is, it doesn't matter which franchise you join through. except that some of them have local offices, and they'll offer stuff that you can go and pick up in person. A member may drop off a bunch of artwork or something, and the local iTex franchise may keep it in their office, and you can go pick it up in person. Otherwise, it doesn't matter which one you join through. You have access to everything in the database from all of these members, all the franchises, which together comprise are comprised of 25,000 members. To become a member, speaking of membership, you can become a member through me. And the reason I do that is because it says here, iTex is constantly striving to make our marketplace a vital tool for your business. How do we do that? One way is to recruit great members. By recommending iTex to your network of fellow business owners, you're adding the people you want to trade with. See, it's me vetting you. So that's why this form is inside the site. I would need your first name, your last name, your business name if you have one. If you don't have a business name, you can just use your personal name, a contact, a phone number. That can be a business or a personal phone number, and an email address. And with that information, I log in, fill out your first name, last name, business name and or personal name, and contact phone number and email, and I click send. And the system automatically, since I've vetted you as someone I'm recommending, the system will automatically send you an invite. And you can click on accept and accept it right away, or if you don't, probably the franchise office that I joined through will give you a call and ask, if you're still interested, and they'll also discuss with you things that you might be able to offer to benefit from membership. So they don't want you to just join and not use the membership. So they're happy to give you a call. And in fact, anytime you need any good or service, you can reach out to the trade directors. And again, they can see things in the database that regular members can't see, such as things that are managed accounts. They can see, like the doctors and the dentists, and even some high-ticket lawyers, or I don't know, whatever, some high fashion place or whatever. They can see stuff you can't, and they can find things. And you just say, I'm looking for something near my zip code. And they can pull it up and they'll send you a printout. At least my trade director does. So if you give me that information, I'll go ahead and invite you into iTex. And with that, I'm about finished with my presentation. So I'm going to see if I can find my slides again. There we are. And go back to view and slideshow. Okay, so if you have any questions, just email me, willie.crawford@gmail.com. I have numerous email addresses, but a lot of them automatically forward to Gmail, since Gmail does such a great job of screening for spam. And please use the subject line, Barter questions. That let me know that you've seen this presentation and you have questions, and it makes it stand out in my inbox, because some days I get several hundred emails. And I'll also post my contact information beneath the video when I post it online. I plan on sharing this inside my private Facebook group and on YouTube, and I'm not sure where else, but I'll post beneath the YouTube video any contact information and any links that I mentioned during this presentation. And with that, I thank you for listening.